Oh, no. I don't see it in the list. No. 6620L. I see other ones, but not this one. I mean, I've switched it on a few times already. What should the yeah. What's the SSID? The what? No, there's a password and there's a Verizon, MiFi, and then a number. Um, yeah. Okay. Okay. But where it shows the screen with the symbols on it, what should you see? It's got a. It says. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The problem is I'm at a press conference which is meant to start like in a few minutes, and I don't know. It's never happened before. Yeah. Okay. 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 But I should see it on this menu.
Harris, good afternoon to you. Don't forget, typically with these joint appearances with foreign leaders, it's 2 questions per side, so I don't know how deep into the weeds
What?
we're going to be able to
Check
get
mark?
in terms of the
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. Yeah. What about it?
Venezuela is a point of commonality between the two leaders. Brazil shares a border with Venezuela. Clearly, it has an interest in seeing democracy restored there. Maduro continues to hang on, as you pointed out. Now the challenge seems to be to convince Juan Guaido and other members of the National Assembly, will they make a decision to grant leaders of the Maduro regime amnesty, allow them to hang on to their wealth so that they either depart the country or work together with Guaido and members of the National Assembly on a regime change there, or will
Right of what? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
insist on bringing prosecutions against these leaders, which may perpetuate Maduro hanging on to power there, and whether or not there might be some sort of military action, be it American,
Yeah, Wi-Fi devices. I don't know. What am I meant to be looking at? Get it.
President Trump brought up John McCain today in the Oval Office when he was asked about his
I just want to know how to connect this Wi-Fi. That's all. I really don't know. Oh, you know what? It's just appeared.
President Trump
For the first time, it's just appeared. Why is that? I don't know.
President Putin's, he changed at the very
And then it says alert. Wi-Fi device is connected to Jetpack's network.
He didn't. He said, I've never been a fan of John McCain, and I never will. So that's another issue out there. You also mentioned Michael Cohen.
Well, I got to tell you, some weird
that
stuff
the president put out this morning in response
works,
to his
it works.
social media director Dan Scavino being blocked momentarily, at least on Facebook, saying that he wants to look into that. Could President Trump possibly support federal regulation of big social media platforms?
I don't know. Yeah, usually you just switch it on and it appears.
Wants to bring an antitrust
Okay. Anyway, it is working now.
So there's a lot out there.
I don't know why it took so long to
appear. Harris, we don't know how deep in the weeds we'll be able to get.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool. Thanks.
Because when President Trump is up on the dais, along with Jair Bolsonaro, he'll virtually be looking in the mirror in terms of politics.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, accompanied by the President of the Federative Republic of Brazil. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Today I'm very thrilled to welcome President Bolsonaro of Brazil for his first visit to the White House. President Bolsonaro, I want to congratulate you again on your tremendous election victory. Last October, it was an incredible feat. and really a truly incredible challenge. And the end result was something the whole world was talking about. I also know that we're going to have a fantastic working relationship. We have many views that are similar, and we certainly feel very, very true to each other on trade. I think Brazil's relationship with the United States, because of our friendship, is probably better than it's ever been by far. I also want to congratulate you on your recovery from a truly horrible ordeal. It was an incredible recovery, and the people of your country know it. Great bravery. You've shown tremendous bravery. For 2 centuries, the American and Brazilian people have been united by shared values, including an enduring love of faith and family and country. The United States was the first nation to recognize Brazil's independence in 1822. And in the Second World War, Brazil was the only South American country to contribute troops to the Allied war effort. Today, the United States and Brazil are the 2 largest democracies and economies in the Western Hemisphere. We're in close agreement on the incredible opportunities and continuing challenges facing our region, and we have a truly historic chance to forge even stronger ties between our 2 great nations. This afternoon, the President and I discussed many of our mutual priorities, including Venezuela. Brazil has been an extraordinary leader in supporting the Venezuelan people's efforts to reclaim their liberty and their democracy. Brazil has helped so much. Along with the United States, Brazil was one of the first nations to recognize Venezuela's legitimate interim president, Juan Guaido. I also want to express our profound gratitude to President Bolsonaro and all the Brazilian people for their efforts to provide humanitarian aid. We also thank you for allowing the United States to station extensive assistance and massive aid on the Brazilian border. The Brazilian people have been incredible. Together we could and have been really very happy to feed thousands and thousands of starving Venezuelans. The Venezuelan people have appreciated it, and if the Maduro forces would step aside, it could be a truly great and successful humanitarian project. We call on members of the Venezuelan military to end their support for Maduro, who is really nothing more than a Cuban puppet, and finally set their people free. The United States and Brazil are also united in support of the long-suffering people of Cuba and Nicaragua. The twilight hour of socialism has arrived in our hemisphere, and hopefully, by the way, it's also arrived, that twilight hour, in our great country, which is doing better than it's ever done economically. The last thing we want in the United States is socialism. So, President Bolsonaro, I will tell you that we'll be consulting and talking a lot. We'll be working on all of our both problems and assets, and we're making tremendous strides. We had a great meeting today. As I told President Bolsonaro, I also intend to designate Brazil as a major non-NATO ally, or even possibly, if you start thinking about it, maybe a NATO ally. Have to talk to a lot of people, but maybe a NATO ally, which will greatly advance security and cooperation between our countries. Our nations are already working together to protect our people from terrorism, transnational crime, and drugs and weapon trafficking. Also human trafficking, which has really become something that's come to the forefront of crime. Horrible, horrible situation. We look forward to an even deeper partnership and working together. In our meetings, we also discussed the strong economic ties between our nations, grounded in the principles of fairness and reciprocity, my favorite word, reciprocity. President Bolsonaro and I are both committed to reducing trade barriers, facilitating investment and supporting innovation across a range of industries, particularly energy, infrastructure, agriculture, and technology. The President's vision for freeing the private sector and opening the economy is the right way for Brazil to achieve strong economic growth, and our great companies are ready to go when that table is flat and free. To improve our business relationships, we have revived the U.S.-Brazil CEO Forum, and we have started a new U.S.-Brazil Energy Forum. We welcome Brazil's aspirations to join Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, a laudable goal and one that will make Brazil's status as a developing and developed country. We also hope that all of us will be able to work together, all nations. I'm also pleased to announce that after 20 years of talks, we are finalizing a technology safeguards agreement to allow U.S. companies to conduct space launches from Brazil. It's actually an incredible location when you study it and when you see it. We won't go into it now, but because of the location, tremendous amounts of money would be saved. To put it very simply, the flights are a lot shorter. Brazil's proximity to the equator makes it an ideal launch location. My administration is committed to reviving America's proud legacy in space. We're looking very strongly, as you know, and working together with everybody on Space Force. And we are grateful for Brazil's partnership. Mr. President, thank you again for the honor of your visit today. A strong and thriving friendship between the United States and Brazil is essential to a future of security and prosperity for all of our citizens. It's been a wonderful time getting to know you. You're doing a fantastic job. You brought the country together, and I look forward to working with you in a very close relationship for many years to come. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Excelentíssimo senhor Donald Trump, presidente dos Estados Unidos da América, meus ministros, integrantes de delegações dos estados e do Brasil, senhoras e senhores profissionais da imprensa, senhoras e senhores, muito obrigado, presidente Trump, por sua calorosa hospitalidade. É uma honra estar em Washington, em minha primeira visita bilateral desde que fui eleito presidente do Brasil. Aproveito a oportunidade para convidá-lo. Serás muito bem recebido pelo povo brasileiro. Temos muita coisa em comum. Sempre fui um grande admirador dos Estados Unidos, e essa admiração aumentou com a chegada de Vossa Excelência na presidência. Este nosso encontro retoma uma antiga tradição de parceria e, ao mesmo tempo, abre um capítulo inédito na relação entre o Brasil e os Estados Unidos. Hoje, destravamos assuntos que já estavam na pauta há décadas e abrimos novas frentes de cooperação. Esta é a hora de superar velhas resistências e explorar todo o vasto potencial que existe entre o Brasil e os Estados Unidos. Afinal, hoje o Brasil tem um presidente que não é anti-americano, caso inédito nas últimas décadas. As reformas que estamos empreendendo vão transformando o Brasil em um parceiro ainda mais atraente. Seguimos firmemente dedicados a equilibrar as contas públicas e a transformar o ambiente de negócios. O apoio americano ao ingresso do Brasil na OCDE será entendido como um gesto de reconhecimento que marcará ainda mais a união que buscamos. O setor privado de ambos os países tem que continuar a ser protagonista em nossas relações. Por isso, reativamos o Foro de Altos Executivos Brasil e Estados Unidos. Temos também, como prioridade, o lançamento de um fórum de energia com ênfase em óleo, gás e outras fontes. Como sinal deste governo, o governo brasileiro concedeu
The
a
Brazilian
isenção
government,
de
as a
visto
sign of
para
goodwill,
cidadãos
has granted
americanos
full
para
visa
estimular
exemption to
o
US
turismo
nationals with a
e
view
os
to further
negócios.
encouraging tourism
Na
and
vertente da
business
defesa e
travels.
da
On
cooperação
the defense
espacial,
and space
assinamos
cooperation
o
work
acordo
front,
de
we have signed
salvaguardas
a technology
tecnológicas, o que
safeguards agreement,
viabilizará
which will
o
in
centro
turn
de lançamento de
enable
Alcântara.
the
A cooperação
Alcântara
militar também
satellite
tem
launch
se
center.
ampliado na
Military
busca de
cooperation has also
parcerias em
expanded
sistemas
as we
de defesa.
seek out
As
partnerships
atividades
in
de
the
ciência,
development of
tecnologia
defense
e
systems.
inovação
Science, technology,
podem
and
ocupar
innovation
espaço
activity
cada vez
can
maior em
certainly
nosso
be expected to
relacionamento.
take on an increasing role
Daí nossa
as part of
proposta
our
de
bilateral
fórum de
agenda.
inovação
Hence our proposal to
Brasil
launch an
Estados Unidos.
innovation forum between
O
Brazil
combate
and
ao terrorismo
US.
e ao crime
Efforts
organizado
to tackle
é questão de maior
terrorism
urgência
and
para os
organized
nossos
crime
povos.
is a matter of utmost
Decidimos fortalecer
urgency
o
for
Fórum
our two
Bilateral
people,
de Segurança
peoples. We have
e
decided to
fazermos mais
strengthen our
contra a
bilateral
lavagem de
security
dinheiro
forum and do
e o
more
narcotráfico.
against money laundering and
O
drug
restabelecimento
trafficking.
da democracia na Venezuela
Reestablishing
é de
democracy
interesse
in
comum dos
Venezuela
nossos
is also a
governos.
shared interest
O regime
between our two
ditatorial
administrations.
venezuelano
The
faz
dictatorial
parte de
regime
uma
in Venezuela
coligação
today is part of a
internacional,
broader international
conhecido como
coalition
Foro de São
known as
Paulo,
the São
que esteve
Paulo
próximo de
Forum,
conquistar o poder
which
em
nearly
toda a América
conquered
Latina.
power throughout
Pela
Latin
via
America in
democrática,
recent times.
nos livramos
However,
deste projeto
by
no Brasil.
democratic means, we were able to
Encerro
rid
dizendo
ourselves from that
que o
project.
Brasil e os
In
Estados
conclusion, may I
Unidos
say that
também
Brazil
estão
and the
emanados
United
na
States
garantia das
stand
liberdades,
side by side
no
in
respeito à família
their
tradicional,
efforts to ensure
no temor a
liberties
Deus,
and respect
nosso
to
Criador,
traditional, family
contra a
lifestyles,
ideologia de
respect to
gênero,
God,
o
our
politicamente
Creator, against
correto
the gender ideology
e
or
as
the
fake
politically
news.
correct
Inspirando,
attitudes and against fake news.
inspirando-me em Ronald Reagan,
Drawing
quero
inspiration
levar
from
para o
Ronald
Brasil
Reagan,
a sua
I
forma
wish
de
to
administrar,
bring to Brazil
resumida
his
na seguinte frase
administration
de
style,
sua autoria:
as summarized in the
O
following
povo deve
citation.
dizer o que o
People
governo pode fazer
should say what the
e não
government can do
o contrário.
and not the other way around.
Os Estados Unidos mudaram em 2017
The
e o
United
Brasil
States
também começou a
changed
mudar
in
em
2017 and Brazil has
2019.
just started to
Estamos
change
juntos
now
para o bem
in
dos nossos
2017. We
povos.
stand together side by side
Queremos
to the
uma
ultimate
América
benefit of our
grande
two nations.
e um
We want to
Brasil
have a great America,
grande também.
yes, and we also want
Mais
to
uma
have a
vez,
great Brazil.
expresso meu
Once again,
reconhecimento ao
may I voice
presidente
my
Trump.
admiration
Neste
and
dia em que
recognition to President
selamos
Donald Trump
a aliança
on this beautiful day
promissora
where we
entre as duas
seal
maiores
a
democracias
promising
do
alliance between the
Ocidente.
two
Que
most
Deus
promising
abençoe o Brasil
and largest
e
democracies
que Deus
in the
abençoe
Western
os Estados
Hemisphere.
Unidos
May
da
God
América.
bless
Meu
Brazil
muito
and may
obrigado,
God bless
senhor
the United
presidente.
States of America. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
So we'll take a couple of questions. Roberta Rampton, please. Roberta. Reuters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On Venezuela, you did the tough sanctions and you sent the aid, but it seems like Maduro is no closer to leaving. And I'm wondering if you're getting worried about losing momentum, and how long are you being told that this is going to take?
I'm not being told any specific time. They've been there a long time, between him and his predecessor. At some point, I would imagine things will change. But we really haven't done the really tough sanctions yet. We can do the tough sanctions, and all options are open, so we may be doing that. But we haven't done the toughest of sanctions, as you know. We've done, I would say, right down the middle. But we can go a lot tougher if we need to do that. But it's a very sad thing. We're not looking for anything other than taking care of a lot of people that are starving and dying in the streets. What's happening there is a disgrace. This was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. And all of a sudden it's it's grief-stricken, poverty-stricken, no food, no water, no air conditioning, no anything, no power for a long time last week, no power. And that's going to break down again because it's being held together by threats. So it's very sad, Roberta, very sad to see. Okay.
May I ask President Bolsonaro? President Bolsonaro, are you open to the idea of allowing a U.S. base or U.S. military personnel, a military presence in Brazil to provide support on the border with Venezuela? And is that something that you talked about with President Trump today?
Discutimos
we have
a
discussed
possibilidade
the
de o
possibility
Brasil
of
entrar como grande aliado
Brazil becoming a great
extra-OTAN. Há
allied
pouco
extra
permitimos
NATO.
que alimentos fossem
Recently, we
alocados
requested that
em Boa Vista, capital de Roraima,
food
por
was
parte
sent through Boa
dos
Vista, the
americanos,
capital
para
of
que a ajuda
Roraima
humanitária
state,
se fizesse presente
or Friends from
na
America, so that
Venezuela.
humanitarian aid was provided
No
to
momento,
Venezuela.
estamos nesse
At this
ponto.
point in
Agora,
time,
o que
this is
for
where we
possível
stand.
fazemos
So for as
juntos
much as it's possible for us
para
to do
solucionar o
together
problema da
to sort out
ditadura
the issue of
venezuelana,
the
o
Venezuelan
Brasil
dictatorship,
estará
Brazil will be more than
apostos
willing
para cumprir
and ready
essa missão
to
e levar
fulfill this
liberdade e
mission and take
democracia
freedom and
àquele
democracy
país que há pouco
to that
era um
country,
dos países mais
which
ricos
up
da
until
América
recently
do
was
Sul
one
e
of the
hoje
wealthiest
o
countries in
povo
South
passa
America, but
fome,
nowadays people are
sofre
starving to
violência,
death. They are
sofre com falta de
violence,
medicamentos,
lack of
uma coisa terrível que acontece lá e nós temos que somar esforços sim para botar um ponto final nessa questão que é ultrajante para o mundo todo.
which is pervasive to the whole wide world.
Mr. President, please.
Boa tarde, presidente. Simone Iglesias, da Bloomberg. Eu gostaria de saber,
Hello, Simone
presidente
Iglesias from
Bolsonaro, se os Estados
Bloomberg.
Unidos
I would like to know if
fizerem uma intervenção militar
the
na
US
Venezuela, qual é a
actually have a
posição do
military
Brasil com
intervention in
relação a
Venezuela.
isso?
What's the position of
Tem
Brazil?
certas questões
Well, there are a few
que
issues
se você divulgar,
that
deixa
if
de ser
you
estratégico.
speak, they're no longer strategic.
Assim sendo, essas
Therefore,
questões reservadas que
Reserved
podem ser
issues
discutidas, se
which
já não
may be
foram,
discussed if they have not yet
não poderão se tornar
will not
públicas,
become public,
obviamente.
evidently.
Eu lembro num debate aqui
I
nos Estados
remember
Unidos,
on a
uma
debate
candidata
here in the United
perguntou para
States
o
when a
candidato o que
candidate
ele
asked
faria
another
para
candidate
combater
what
o
he
Estado
would
Islâmico.
do
Ele
to
respondeu:
fight
falar,
the
não terei
Islamic
mais como
State. He said,
combater.
if I say, I
Então,
will no
uma
longer be able
questão
to
de
beat it.
estratégia
So it's a matter of strategy.
tudo que tratarmos
For
aqui
everything that we discuss
será
here
honrado,
will be honored,
mas infelizmente
but
certas
unfortunately,
informações, se
certain pieces
porventura
of information,
vierem à
if
mesa, não
are
pode
to
ser
come to
debatidas
the
de
table, may
forma
not be
pública.
debated publicly.
Presidente Trump, com relação
President
à
Trump,
intervenção militar,
regarding
o
the
senhor
military
pensa nessa
intervention, do you think
possibilidade
about this possibility?
de travar essa batalha com a Venezuela para
Fight in
tirar o
Venezuela
Maduro
to
do poder?
remove Maduro
Obrigada.
from power?
So, as I said, all options are open. I think of all possibilities. All options are open. We'll see what happens. And by the way, I see in the audience the son of the president, who has been fantastic. Would you please stand up? The job you've done during a very tough period of time is just fantastic. And I know your father appreciates it, that I can tell you. Okay, thank you very much. Fantastic job. Sagar Enjeti from Daily Caller. Sagar.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
2 questions for you, sir, if I may. The first on the 2020 election. There's a growing number of Democratic candidates who have endorsed the idea of adding seats to the Supreme Court. Is that an idea that you would entertain in the remainder of your term or possible next term, or is that not something that you agree with?
No, I wouldn't entertain that. The only reason is that they're doing that is they want to try and catch up. So if they can't catch up through the ballot box by winning an election, they want to try doing it in a different way. Now, we would have no interest in that whatsoever. It'll never happen. It won't happen, I guarantee you, it won't happen for 6 years.
Another question for you on social media. You tweeted in support of Congressman Nunez's suit against Twitter. There's part of a larger discussion that Senator Josh Hawley's been leading about making social media companies liable for the content that is on their platform, which they're not currently. Is that an idea or a change in law that you would support?
Well, we have to do something. I tell you, I have many, many millions of followers on Twitter, and it's different than it used to be. Things are happening, names are taken off, people aren't getting through. You've heard the same complaints. And it seems to be if they're conservative, if they're Republicans, if they're in a certain group, there's discrimination and big discrimination. I see it absolutely on Twitter and Facebook, which I have also, and others I see, but I really focus more on the one platform. And I have many different platforms. It's, I guess we have 60 million, almost 60 million on Twitter, and if you add them all up, it's way over 100 million people. And I get to see firsthand what's going on, and it's not good. And we use the word collusion very loosely all the time. And I will tell you, there is collusion with respect to that, because something has to be going on. And when you get the back office statements made by executives of the various companies, and you see the level of, in many cases, hatred they have for a certain group of people that happen to be in power, that happen to have won the election, you say that's really unfair. So something's happening with those groups of folks that are running Facebook and Google and Twitter. And I do think we have to get to the bottom of it. It's very fair. It's collusive, and it's very, very fair to say that we have to do something about it. And if we don't, you know, the incredible thing is that we can win an election, and we have such a stacked deck, and that includes networks, frankly. You look at the networks, you look at the news, you look at the newscasts. I call it fake news. I'm very proud to hear the president use the term fake news. But you look at what's happening with the networks, you look at what's happening with different shows, and it's hard to believe we win. But, you know, I'll tell you what it really shows. The people are smart. The people get it. They'll go through all of that, whatever it is they're fed, and in the end they pull the right lever. It's a very, very dangerous situation. So I agree. I think something has to be looked at very closely.
Thank you, sir. President Bolsonaro, and another question on the 2020 election. If a number of the Democrats who are running to replace the president have embraced or have considered socialist ideas, you've spoken critically of that in the past. If a socialist or a candidate who embraced socialism were to replace the president, how would it affect your relations with the United States?
É um assunto interno, respeitaremos o resultado das urnas em 2020,
we will respect
mas eu
whatever the
acredito
ballots tell
piamente
us
na
on
reeleição de
2020, but I
Donald
do
Trump.
believe Donald Trump is
O
going to be
povo que o
reelected
apoiou no passado,
fully.
assim como
Thank you.
foi
I
feito
agree.
comigo no Brasil.
Yeah, this was the
repetirá
same
esse voto
what happened to me. I think
com
everyone
toda
will repeat their
certeza.
vote.
E
Here
cada dia
in
que
America.
passa, essas
So,
pessoas mais voltadas
every day
ao
more and more
socialismo
people that
e
are
até mesmo
prone
ao
to
comunismo,
socialism and even
aos
communism
poucos vão abrindo
slowly
sua
are
mente
going to be
para a
opening their
realidade.
minds to the
Você pode
reality.
ver, a fronteira
And you can
da
see the
Venezuela com o Brasil
border
foi fechada há
with
pouco
Venezuela and
tempo.
Brazil was
Não para
recently
que brasileiros
closed,
que
not
apoiam o
for
socialismo e para a
Brazilians which are
Venezuela, mas
pro-socialism
exatamente
to
o
go into
contrário,
Venezuela,
para
but
que
the other way around,
venezuelanos
so that
que apoiam a
Venezuelans
democracia
who
não
support
entrassem
democracy
no
wouldn't
Brasil.
go into
Esse
Brazil.
sentimento, com toda
This
certeza,
feeling
ficará
most
muito
certainly
latente por
is
ocasião
going
das
to be very much
eleições do ano que
seen
vem.
when 2020 comes.
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You want to go? You
Yeah.
look like a very nice
Yeah.
person. Go ahead. Watch. Here, this will be the killer of all time. Watch.
Thank you,
ahead.
Mr. President. Beatriz Bula from Estadão. The USTR is not supporting the entry of Brazil in the OECD. Is the US government going to formally support Brazil's entry on the OECD, and what have you asked as a trade-off?
We will be supporting. We're going to have a great relationship in so many different ways. That's just just something that we're going to be doing in honor of the president and in honor of Brazil. We will be asking for things, but not necessarily having to do with that. I think we're just going to have a very fair relationship. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Presidente
Thank
Bolsonaro.
you.
Presidente Bolsonaro, os Estados Unidos esperam a diminuição da influência da China no Brasil. Ontem o ministro da Economia,
Does the United
Paulo
States
Guedes, falou que o
expect
Brasil vai
the
continuar
influence of China
a
into
comerciar com a
Brazil?
China e receber
Yesterday, Paulo
investimentos da
Guedes
China. Qual é a
mentioned
posição
that
do
it's going
governo
to
brasileiro com
incentivize
relação a isso e o
relations
que o
with
senhor
China.
falou
How
sobre o
does the
presidente
U.S.
Trump
see
sobre os
that, and what
chineses
you
no
said
Brasil?
about President Trump,
O
about the
Brasil
Chinese in
continua
Brazil?
fazendo negócio
Well, like I
com o
said,
maior número
Brazil's
de
going to
países
keep on making
possíveis.
as much
Apenas
business
esse
with as many
comércio não
countries as
mais será
possible.
direcionado
No
pelo
longer
viés
businesses is
ideológico como
going
era
to be
feito há
found
pouco tempo.
into the ideology
Então
as it
estamos
used to be.
também emanados
We are
nesse
also
objetivo para o bem
Following this
dos nossos
objective for
povos.
the good of our peoples.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. China's going very well. Talks with China going very well. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Got it. I'm good. Yeah, go. Got it. Go. Yep.